Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Powering the Future, Tanvi Trivedi on Law, Energy and Ambition. Tanvi is Senior Legal Counsel at August Energy, whose decade-long career has powered complex infrastructure, energy and project finance mandates across the APAC region. A Georgetown University alumni, Tanvi brings razor-sharp contract expertise, cross-border insights, and an ever-evolving global legal perspective. From corporate boardrooms to regulatory battlegrounds, her legal craft is matched only by her drive to keep growing, adapting, and giving back, making her one of the most dynamic in-house counsels in the energy space today. So, welcome, Tanvi. It will be energy is very dear because a lot of conversations we have started at the coffee conversation. So this will add more value. So welcome to today's coffee conversation, Tanvi.
Thank you so much, Amir. It's a pleasure talking to you today, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity and look forward to an engaging conversation.
Okay. So let me explain you. There are three rounds: professional journey, personal journey, and a surprise, the rapid fire round, where you'll be in the hot seat, like you in Coffee with Karan, and here's inspiration, Legal AI 101. Okay. So, friend, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host of Coffee Conversation, legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup, SME, world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question for your professional journey round, Tanvi, what attracted you to the intersection of law, energy, and infrastructure, and how has the journey been?
So I think first and foremost, what got my attention to law, energy, and infrastructure is the sheer impact that this sector has on our society and on our day-to-day life. So law, energy, and infrastructure contracts are not just about compliance and legal risks. They're actually how nations are progressing, how society is being shaped, and how we as individuals are living our daily life. For example, an infrastructure project related to your airports will have a direct impact on your life, on my life, and on everybody's life around us. And for me, that was really, really important because I felt that the work I do, I'll be able to see real life consequences and contributions of it in real time. So, yeah, that's what really attracted me to this. It was also about balancing different stakeholder needs. So, we talk about infrastructure projects, we're talking about private investment and profit against public good and welfare. So every infrastructure project is actually undertaken for the welfare of the public to make their lives easier. But at the same time, there has to be a balance between the commercial gains. So, the stakeholder balancing, the needs of the societies against the laws. So all this was very challenging, but very enticing. The journey so far has been complex. It has been very enriching. It has been really practical. It's not theoretical, the work that I'm doing. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been chaotic, and it's been hard.
Wow. So let's dive deep in conversation, Tanvi. How different is advising on infrastructure projects in APAC region versus other regions?
Thank you. That's a really interesting question, Amir, because when you compare the APAC region to other more mature regions like the EU and the US, you understand that APAC is a very fragmented market. It has various jurisdictions that interplay within the whole region. And you're dealing with a region wherein there is a lot of greenfield opportunity. In contrast to more mature regions like EU and US, where there's more updation and brownfield opportunities that are there. What happens in APAC is that there's a lot of political and government interference still in projects. There is a lot of political risk that needs to be, catered for. So it's not like a black and white legal landscape. You also need to take care of the political landscape in APAC region. Whereas in EU and US, politically, they're at a more stable stage. So doing projects over there, at least clears out that risks of dealing with basically bureaucracies or government or licensing, etc. All that needs to be taken care of in APAC. When you come to financing of projects in APAC versus the more mature markets, APAC financing of projects basically still happens through multilateral banks. So these are your world banks or your other agencies which are still funding projects in the developing nations. Whereas if you go to the mature markets in the EU and the US, the funding is coming from more sophisticated equity and private players. So whenever you're dealing with infrastructure projects, there is a lot of difference. Though in APAC region, there is more opportunity for growth because the markets are developing. So that gives you a lot more ground to work with.
Wow, beautiful. So, Tanu, how do you approach managing disputes or investigation when stakes are high and timelines are tight?
I deal with it with a lot of coffee. But
The coffee.
I think preparation is very important. Like they
Yeah,
always say that, prevention is better than cure. You need to keep yourself involved with the stakeholders at a very early age of any dispute because the stakes are very high, like you said. So your senior management has to be the one who's going to be taking the decisions, but you have to guide them in the right way to take the decisions. So what I try to do first as an in-house lawyer is try to understand what my company's position is rather than deep diving into winning a dispute. So I'm not at a battle here, but what I try to do is I try to find more pragmatic kind of solutions because sometimes the only priority of the company can be to preserve this key relationship. Yes, a dispute has arisen, but we want to continue and preserve this key relationship with the other side. So then you're going to go into the dispute with a very different mindset. Maybe the priority of my stakeholders is minimizing financial exposure. So then I go with a different plan. Then, like, I'm not going to go and try and, be very soft in preserving a relationship, but then I'm going to go and go very contractually armed to say that, my exposure is minimized. So I think because the timelines are tight, because the stakes are high, the reputation of my company is at stake. I feel early involvement and early intervention is very important. And your judgment is really important, sometimes more than what the law is saying or what the contracts are stating. Your judgment and negotiation and your skills to deal with the other party are very important.
beautiful. Okay, so let's go to Georgetown University. What made you select this university and how did it shape your perspective to international law with respect to energy?
I think I was really grateful that Georgetown selected me. I am a very proud Hola Saxa, as we call each other at Georgetown, and it is one of my biggest achievements till date. I flaunt it, I speak about it, and I'm really proud to be a graduate of one of the top law schools in the world. I think
Wow,
I decided to do this master's early on when I was studying law, and I was very clear that I want to gain a global exposure and I don't want to restrict myself to the Indian jurisdiction or the landscape. So I applied to a number of colleges and I got through Georgetown. At Georgetown, what really shaped my experience is again the world class faculty that I had the opportunity to learn from, the array of experience that they got to the table, just the diversity in terms of like, my fellow students who were there. There were students who had an experience of 10 years when I was a fresh graduate. So, sitting besides them in class and engaging in thoughtful discussion really led to my growth. The way of teaching was very, very practical. It was very like project oriented. It was very real life situations. So that really shaped my journey afterwards because they prepared me to deal with actual legal issues that arise rather than just memorizing it. Georgetown also opened the gate for me for World Bank. And I got to work at the World Bank headquarters in Washington, D.C. for a period of 6 months. I look at my life now and I imagine my life that time, and it just feels like a dream to be there. So, yes, Georgetown has played a pivotal role in helping me land the jobs that I landed, be it with a Fortune 500 company later or a tier one law firm. And the learning and the experiences, I think, will stay with me for life.
wow, beautiful. Okay, so my next question was, what was the biggest learning from your time at Baker, and how did it shape uh, leading to your current role at August Energy?
So, Amir, when I reached Baker, I only had law firm experience prior to that. So, I was a law firm associate or a senior associate, and I had a protective layer, on top of me in terms of my seniors or my partners. So, whatever role I had was very scripted and sculpted, and it was limited to a level. Okay, Tanvi is going to do this. She's going to redline an agreement and then email it to the senior, and the senior is going to take it forward. Cut to Baker, there was no senior as such. So here I was dealing with on-ground situations, that there was, for example, there was a situation where a crew was stuck and they were not getting permits to cross the transport, the MCD toll and the transport barriers. So I was called to help them with that and I didn't know what to do. There was no senior to call. So I think Baker taught me a lot of accountability. Baker taught me that, you just don't need to know the law, but you need to actually know how to implement it and get the work done. Baker teams did not want me to tell them that the Contract Act states blah, blah, blah. They wanted to tell me that how are we going to mobilize our equipment when we have a delay at the back end of 6 months? The contract only allows for 3 months. So here I was just thrown like different dices every day and they just wanted solutions. So Baker taught me that, more than just knowing the law, I need to know a solution which I can sell to the stakeholders and get them to agree on a mitigation plan to get the work done. So I think that helps me in August because again, at August, I'm a one-stop shop for the legal work. So now my brain doesn't work at looking at the problems or the law, but it works at finding solutions. So that's how it really helped me.
So as you shared, you were working with Apna redlining. So you must have used at JSA and other law firms this tool, Workshare Literature Compare, and
Yeah.
other legal tools. How did it help these tools in your work?
I think, at our times, these tools were there and they were still being used and they were still being developed. And we were obviously advised to use these tools, but at the same time to use the tools with the brain of a human being behind it. To not just like blindly, rely on it. But yes, these tools, I will not deny, are very helpful when it comes to like really vast and dense documents. When it comes to like, checking for errors or reviewing for spelling mistakes or reviewing for grammar, etc. Sometimes you just don't have the bandwidth. And sometimes your own eyes cannot spot your own mistake. I think we're all oblivious to finding mistakes in ourselves. The same goes for our work. So sometimes these automated tools really help to point out the most obvious mistakes that you would miss. For example, like, cross-referencing of clauses, the mentioning of dates, formatting of agreements. So yes, I think to that limited extent, these tools are very helpful. Going forward in this generation, which is heavily dependent on AI, and God forbid people are scared that AI is going to take over their jobs, I think these tools used to need to be used with a lot of ethical checks in places. Because there are some things that tools cannot take over from human beings. And yes, so use them to your advantage, but do not get used by the tool, is what I would suggest.
Wow, beautiful. So my next question related that only, and that is what happens with coffee. Uh, okay. So, Tanvi, as you said before, okay, we have worked at law firms and in-house. What do you see the biggest shift in mindset when you move to in-house role?
I think the biggest shift in mindset that happens from a law firm to an in-house is that from a risk spotter, you need to become a risk manager. So earlier at a law firm, my job was to highlight risks, to tell the clients that these are the risks, these are the issues, to state the obvious law to them with like a 10 page of assumptions and qualifications wherein I'm not going to be responsible. I am not really bothered about the consequences or the commercial concerns or trade-offs. So my role ends at telling you what the law is, and you can either do this or you can either do that, but I will not tell you what to do. So that is what used to really happen at law firms. Now, when you reach in-house, it is your job to not teach the law to your team, but to tell them what they can do. You need to understand the commercial trade-offs involved in your advice. You need to cater your advice in a way that the business works. For example, even if you go into a negotiation as an in-house lawyer versus a law firm partner, your role in a negotiation is not to defeat the other person on the other side of the table or to win the point. Your role in the negotiation is to win the argument in favor of the business so that the relationship can continue. So it's meeting each other halfway to find a possible solution. So yeah, as much as I love to fight as a lawyer, as much as I love to prove myself right, I think the biggest mind shift lawyers need to be a good in-house counsel is you need to get the business done more than proving yourself right.
Wow, beautiful. So, in your experience, Tanvi, what's the most underestimated skill for lawyers working in project finance or energy law?
I think we talk a lot about drafting skills for lawyers. We talk a lot about eye to detail for lawyers, which is all out there, and it's very important. I'm not taking away from it. But I think one of the most underrated skills is stakeholder management and communication. I think lawyers become that piece in the puzzle which is important to get all the other pieces together. So here you need to manage your investors, you need to manage your founders or co-founders or your sponsors. You need to manage the technical team, which is going to be implementing the project. You need to manage the finance. So it's like, you're right in the middle of it. And I think communication with these stakeholders, the skill to communicate with these stakeholders, to sell them a solution, to sell them a mitigation plan, to just buy time from them to let you do your work as an in-house lawyer is very important. So you really need to understand how to communicate with the stakeholders.
Wow. So, my next question very interesting. How is carbon credits exchange emission being managed in the Indian legal ecosystem?
It's a very upcoming and kind of a developing, topic. And I'm so glad you touched upon it because I think it's very important to again go back to it and realize that whatever the laws are coming, they have a greater impact on the society and the generations and our lives. So carbon credits are very important because we're trying to get, and my company does that. We're a renewable energy company, right? We're trying to get people to switch to greener solutions. So the Energy Conservation Act does have a trading scheme under it, in the carbon trading scheme, wherein they're going to issue you certificates for carbon credits. And there are huge penalties for not complying with it. So the government is not taking a very easy stance. It's no longer going to be an option going forward that you need to switch to, for obvious reasons of depletion of resources and finite resources, you need to shift to more greener sources of power. So I think that's where carbon credits are going to play a very important role. They're helping incentivize this move as well as penalizing for not moving. I think in our contracts, how we deal with it is that for setting up solar power plants or for setting up generation business, whatever carbon credits are applicable in the generation side of it would be to our account and we're going to benefit from it. And whatever carbon credits are going to be available to the off-taker for actually utilizing greener energy is going to be to their credit. So yeah, I think that's how we're dealing with it. And the landscape is going to evolve, the landscape is going to change, and you're going to see a lot of movement in this area.
Wow. So, my last question, what's your advice to young lawyers who want to break into the energy infrastructure space?
It's been so long since I was a young lawyer, but I think now if I have to go back and give an advice at that point, it would be, stay at it. Stay at it with a lot of grit and humility. This work is going to get tough, but it's really rewarding and fulfilling also. If you want to be an energy infrastructure lawyer, you need to be completely attuned to the commercial side of things. You cannot just, confide yourself to the law. To be an all-rounder energy lawyer, you need to be in sync with the policy. You need to be updated with the changes happening around you in terms of policy, and you need to have a commercial acumen. Because if you want to be a good lawyer, you need to understand the commercial impact of all your legal decisions because both of them go hand in hand. Don't give up. The hours are long, but it gets exciting. So yeah, be at it with a lot of grit, with a lot of hard work, and yeah, use your brain for commercial decisions as well.
Wow. So, let's go next round and understand Tanvi as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So I'm the youngest of three siblings. I was born in Varanasi. I've been living in Delhi for the longest time though. But at heart, I think I would always say that I'm from Varanasi. I'm a simple old school kind of a person. Childhood was fun. Childhood was spent with a lot of family around, with a lot of relatives and a lot of cousins. It was spent in a lot of, free play and traveling. Yeah, formative years were my family has always had, they were always into education, and my mother and father both are lawyers. So I think I get that from there. So yeah, focus was on studies. And yeah, being the youngest sibling, I think I was always very pampered, still am, and very grateful for my childhood and my parents.
Wow. Okay. Let's go to your days at Amity University. What are experience and memories?
So Amity was my first step into proper adulthood, I would say. School was a protective environment. So yeah, there you still had a structure and protection. Amity made me realize that the world out there is much bigger. It's a lot of fun and it's not always going to be very kind and supportive, but you need to find your own way. I was uh, I was very, very happy that I made some really good friends at Amity who are still by my side. It's been more than a decade and good faculty. And yeah, Amity was the foundation of my law. And that led me to the other decisions in my life. And it was a good experience. We had good classes, good infrastructure, good professors. So overall fun, and it was nice.
So, Tanvi, what's your go-to way to unwind after a high-pressure work week?
Uh, Switching off my office phone is the first thing I do. I am not available on any emails. I don't check emails. I mentally switch off. I think it's very important to have that on and off button. I like to unwind with. I'm an ardent animal lover, so I like to spend a lot of time. I have a dog on my own, and we like to take him out. I like to spend time with my son. It's like relaxing weekends, right? We like to go outdoors. I like to watch movies. So weekends are of no pressure. There is no overscheduling. Maybe wind up with a good book and meet up with friends. But yeah, no checking emails, no work on weekends. I'm very particular about it.
Wow. So let's go to deepest Dwarka. What is the moment that makes brings smile on your face?
Oh, moment which brings smile on my face. So at deepest Dwarka, I always considered myself to be very popular. And now when I look back, I think, yeah, I was one of the popular kids. It was a lot of fun. I was the head girl, both senior and junior wing. I was the basketball team captain. So yeah, deepest Dwarka, I think the confidence that I get in me, I get it from that school. It appreciated me and it made me shine in a lot of places. There were some beautiful relationships that flourished at deepest Dwarka. And I have some really good relationships and some with my teachers who are still my mentors and who I still talk to. Now they see my son and they've seen me grow up. So those grounds, those classrooms, those schools, everything about that brings a smile on my face.
Wow. So you have also volunteered. What made you help young kids and go into volunteering?
I'll be honest with you, Amir. First, I started because I think I needed it to for my application to stand out for my LLM. I was told that you need to have these volunteering experiences. As a child, I was not always into, oh, I want to teach other children or I want to do the greater good. But I think, okay, whatever led me to it is a very noble cause. And what I learned, I was a volunteer at Teach India and I used to teach these really young, underprivileged kids. And I think more than them learning, what I learned is it is so important to, like, just be present in the moment and just be happy with what you have. I think we take everything for granted. We are less grateful for things than we should be. And those children were always so present and they were so happy in whatever little or whatever limited things they had. And there was so much they were ready to, like, invest with you in just the time, that 1 hour 2 hour, that I would spend with them. They would be smiling and they would be so willing to learn, and I was happy that I was a small part of their journey and I was making them learn something or the other. So I still try to do that, though time constraints don't allow me to do it that much, but I still try to spend some time doing some kind of volunteer work.
Wow. So, Tanvi, you're a poet also. So, what got you into writing poem, and you have published a poems book, and how has experience been?
Yeah, I like to say I'm a poetic chaos. I talk a lot, but sometimes it's difficult for me to express what I'm really internally feeling. So I think at a very young age, I realized that poetry is that gate for me to express, what I'm feeling internally. I had an anonymous page on social media because it just helped me write more freely. So it's a way for me to really express my emotions. It's a way for me to talk about worldly issues. It's an outlet for me to, really go deep into my fears and my imagination and my thoughts and to express it out in the world. And I think, yes, I'm fairly okay at it. And I have been grateful that 2 or 3 of my poems did get published. So yeah, and I still continue to write. And it can be about anything, any topic, anywhere. So
Can you share a book?
yeah, I have it here. I'm gonna send you one. But
Okay.
yeah, it's a great way for me to, like, really, like, disconnect from the world and go deeper into introspection.
Wow. So, that is about poem. Is there any other hobby or interest which helps you to unwind and recharge?
I really like to read. I really enjoy reading. I think I take out lesser time for it. I would want to take out more time. I love watching movies. I'm a Bollywood buff, in and out. I love dancing. I love traveling. So yeah, all the other hobbies are I do a lot of things. I paint, I would try to cook. So yeah, I try to do a lot of other things, but I think the top two would be I love to do poetry, I love reading, and I love spending time with animals. Any kind of animal. If an alligator lets me pet it, I will. So you leave me with any animal, I'm happy. So yeah.
Wow. So, which is a book or movie which has left a lasting impact on you?
Pride and Prejudice is one which was a book and a movie which left a real lasting impact on me because I think I'm a feminist, not a Nazi feminist, but like I like to like really advocate for like women's rights, and that movie really showed me in the most simple ways of what basic rights women need and are snatched away from them. I think the other series that I'm an ardent follower of, and I would love my child to also be, is the Harry Potter series. I've read all the books, I've seen all the movies. Other
Mm.
than that, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Wuthering Heights, all the classics I try to read. And now I'm reading a lot about parenting. So yeah, The Whole Brain Child and other books. Now the focus has shifted from this to mother and parenting books. So yeah, but
Beautiful.
I think Pride and Prejudice has stayed with me. I saw it when I was a child, and it really left a lasting impression.
So, what are your travel plans for 2025?
Ah, good you picked it up. We're going to be traveling next week. We're heading off to Sri Lanka for a small break. Post that later in the year, I plan to travel to Dubai to my sister, and then there's a wedding in the family. So we'll be going to Varanasi. So yeah, we try to have 2 or 3 trips a year because both me and my
Wow.
husband have very busy schedules, but we still try to do that.
Wow. Okay. So, let's make you a tour guide, someone who's to visit Varanasi. What are the places to check in and food to have?
You need to be a vegetarian. Let me just put it
Ah,
out
yeah,
there.
I know, I know, I
So, a bigger
know.
disclaimer is you need to enjoy vegetarian food. I think the
Yeah,
places
yeah.
to travel there would obviously, I would tell you to start with the ghats. You need to go to
Mm.
Assi Ghat, and there is this amazing Italian place called the Pizzeria. You would have not had better pizza, I think, other than in Italy itself. But that pizza and the apple pie is to die for. You need to go to the Vishwanath temple. I think it's a very sacred place. It gives you a lot of peace. There is there are supermarkets in Varanasi for shopping. So you need to go there. The street food is amazing. You need to go to Sarnath to have a visit, and like the Buddha statues and the monasteries over there are going to be very nice. So yeah, everything in Varanasi, and now because the government took an active initiative to really work on the city, it's amazing. And yeah, just you have to watch the Ganga Aarti at the Ghat. You need to stay there. So yeah, I think you'll love everything, but you need to be a vegetarian to be there.
Don't worry. There, there are viewers out there who are vegetarian who love to go and uh, check up before going by what are the like you said about the pizza in
Yeah.
Varanasi. So it's like it's a spiritual pizza you're having.
The place itself will Amir like cleanse you. I think when you enter Varanasi, it's such an
Yeah,
aura
I know.
cleansing kind of a
Yes.
vibe around the city. It is just you don't need
Mhm.
to be religious to feel it. It just like it's in the air that it's a very calming, cleansing kind of an aura. And plus it's a very vibrant city. So there are tons of things to do and it's lovely.
Wow. So, Tanvi, if your friends had to describe you in 3 words, what would it be?
3 words. I think I would call myself a poetic chaos who feels too much, who speaks too much, and yeah, and I'm just ever evolving. So yeah,
No, from your friend's viewpoint, this is my last
from my
question.
friend's viewpoint, yeah, from my
Yes.
friend's viewpoint, it would be yeah. Again, speaks too much, feels too much. It's fun to be around. And yeah, I think I'm a friend who they know they can count on, and I will go for people who I really care about. I would go at lengths to just be there for them. I think it's just my way of it's my love language, going extra, doing extra for people I love.
Beautiful. So, Tanvi, you have studied and worked across continents. How has it shaped your worldview outside of work?
Uh, Honestly, I feel you can go to any country, you can be anywhere. I think what really matters and what makes it worth your time is the people, how the people are around that area, right? The kindness and the acts. Just human beings behaving like human beings, I think, is what really matters. And my worldview has really changed because I realized that developed nations are called developed not just because of their infrastructure and economy, but by the basic etiquette of how people are conducting themselves. I think I'm a proud Indian and I'm not denying it. But just when you step outside India and you realize that people are just, conducting themselves in a very sophisticated manner with few etiquettes that are very important to human beings, it just shaped my view of that. Like, for example, I'll tell you, you're in an elevator in India and there are four people around you and nobody will smile and nobody would acknowledge each other. But if you're in the same elevator in the US or if you're in the same elevator in Singapore, people would look at you, they would pass a smile, they would ask you hi, how are you, or they'll talk about the weather. If a woman is standing in queue or if she's pregnant, men ahead of her will let her go ahead. For example, in Japan or other places. So I think that has really changed my worldview that developed nations are not just developed because of economy and infrastructure, because the people are conducting themselves in a more humane and developed manner. So I think that's something we should really learn and adapt.
Wow. So my last one is a googly one. You've done something, but you have to do in one line. Describe Tanvi.
Uh, a heart with paw prints all over.
Wow. I want to ask one more question too. Uh, Besides Varanasi, which is that city which feels home to you?
Washington, D.C., hands down. You give me an option to just teleport myself to Washington, D.C. I'm just gonna pack a few things, including my son and my dog, and I'm just gonna be out. I love Washington, D.C. I think it is such a beautiful blend of culture and modernization. The city is so rich in culture. Every nook and corner is beautiful. I've had an amazing time. The food is amazing. Given a chance, I would love to live in Washington, D.C.
Wow, beautiful. So let's go to next round, put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Uh, Early morning call or midnight email?
Midnight email.
Favorite dish to cook or eat?
I can't cook to save my life. I
So,
think a
what is
favorite
your
dish to
go-to
eat would be pizza.
Okay. ये favorite sweet dish from Varanasi?
Favorite sweet dish from Varanasi? You get this rabdi malai. Like really
Oh,
nice.
wow. Your favorite international cuisine?
My favorite international cuisine is Italian.
Wow. So, ये best place to visit in ये Washington?
Best place to visit in Washington, D.C. is Georgetown Street, and you get the best cupcakes over there.
Wow. Your favorite color?
Black. Anything, anytime black.
Best piece of advice received?
Best piece of advice, speak less.
A quote you live by?
Make sure the mountain is worth the climb.
Wow. Um, you're a coffee lover, I'm a coffee lover, so let's raise the toast because I can't ask you this question, coffee or tea or both.
Oh
Let's raise.
no, hands. I cannot live without coffee. I cannot talk about coffee. If you put an IV in my vein and like inject coffee, I'm happy. So yeah, hands down
Wow.
coffee.
So we did a special episode on the brews of coffee. There's another coffee
Mm.
speaker is there, Drishti Brinda. She's into legal recruiting and she's what do you say, lover of coffee brews.
I did not leave coffee during my pregnancy against medical advice. So I think I'm like a way of I have a problem.
Okay. So you did well, and here's a book which will be autographed and sent to you.
Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and this has been a lot of
Let me
fun.
complete. Then you can. Okay. So, Tanvi, your legal journey is one of constant evolution from litigation to project finance, energy laws, from courts to corporate strategy rooms. What stands out isn't just the technical prowess, but your ability to humanize complex work and lead with empathy, curiosity, and resilience. Whether you're driving billion-dollar energy contracts or mentoring future legal minds, you're shaping not just infrastructure but the legal architecture of tomorrow. Your story is a powerful reminder that the best lawyers build relationships, systems, and above all, impact. So, subscribe to the Coffee Corner Show where there are 500 plus coffee speakers sharing their professional, personal journeys, inspiring, and get inspired from them. And if you want to be featured, like Tanvi, visit our website, the Emerging India Forum, or LinkedIn page, or connect with one of the coffee speakers. They would put in a word and invite you to continue the conversation over a cup of coffee. So, thank you. Take care.
Thank
We'll
you,
be
Ami. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Cheers.